What is going on, First Descendants? We got some big issues, some future hard content coming up, farming issues, and also standard to ultimate descendant progression, how this is going to be possible. But first things first, let's get down into the big issue that I see here. First Descendant is having a tremendous amount of issues in regards to identity. If you're not going to have an identity, you're not going to be able to withstand waves that are coming in regards to gamers changing their minds on how content should be. So if you're going to be hearing everything that the gamers want you to do, trust me, in 3 months, you're not going to have a game. So let's dive first into the big issue that I see here. It says that in regards to the Tokyo game show that just happened a few days ago, this is an interview between IGN, and the developers were asked a few questions. So we're going to tackle down the hard ones first, and then we're going to go with the softballs. First one. Many players have expressed that they feel their feedback is being heard. Can you share anything about the next within the limits of what you can reveal? So one of the things is that they realize that gamers don't like puzzles-based mechanics, penalty-focused balances. I want to apologize again. There you go. Bam. Panic button. Developers are apologizing again for not meeting the expectations of this area. I think it's enough about apologizing. Developers, stop apologizing. I think you have a good game. It's just you gotta sit the way you want to play the game. Instead of removing the invasions and now making them public, so now you have a bigger issue. You have other players which are taking 3 times longer. Let's just say before you got on your bunny or you got on whatever type of character you build, it took you 3 minutes to complete those invasions with the different puzzles. Now, because they're in public, it's taking up to 10, 12 minutes. So win-win, lose-lose. I mean, it's very hard to tell, but we're going to have another big issue because what they've done next for the future content, and this is how you're going to be able to get those vouchers for the new trade, not new trade system, but the new vendor that is coming. So the problem is that you're going to have the introduction of the 400% invasion operations. And this is where I see it as a big issue. They've gone away, including puzzle-based mechanics, and now pretty much it's about killing waves of monsters. It is boring, guys. Sorry. Honest of truth, that is what it is. It is boring, just killing waves of enemy. Let me know in the comment section. Am I wrong or am I right? Do you agree with me or you don't agree with me? But honestly, guys, it's gonna be boring just killing waves of waves. Now we have another big issue. Probably gonna sound it off in the comments or somewhere else. You'll find it online. People are gonna be complaining, oh, it's too many enemies at one time. There's no way I could get those vouchers because they're too hard. That is what the purpose of this game is. If you just want to get on a game, you just play and just be guided. Here, let me hold your hand and guide you along. Hey, you know what? This is not what the First Descendant is all about. But I'm fortunate that developers will not say this because of course, they don't want to lose the player base that they currently have. But this brings us to another issue, which it is the following. It says, another common question was about harder content. Are there plans to introduce more difficult endgame content? Developers went ahead and said, yes, we received the feedback. The current top endgame content is lacking. In Season 2, we plan to introduce new endgame content, including a harder difficulty for special operations and higher difficult levels for intercept missions. So here we go again. I hope if they go ahead and they do this, that they stick to it. Now, how are you able to balance all of this? I think this is going to be the following. If you are able to introduce maybe a higher percent drop rates of certain type of, let's just put it like this, an ultimate descendant. Boom. you go and get it. So if you want to get it at a higher difficulty and you want the better drop rates, then you play that. If you don't, then there's an alternative way. There's a medium level or an easier level, but it's going to take you longer. And I think that's what they try to do from the beginning. However, many complaints about the game is too difficult. You guys know they nerf pretty much. That's what they're doing about all the different type of enemies, big bosses. They're nerfing them, so as they release a new one, they nerf the previous one, and so on and so on. Which I think it has to come to a certain point where you just say enough is enough, and we're gonna stick with this. I mean, we've seen it in Destiny. I think we've seen it in other games that are such in the same type of loot and shooters. They have different difficulties. So I think either grind for a better character or know what character is best for what type of content, then you go for that. I mean, I understand that. Maybe you grind it for a certain character, but I think if you are going to be investing your time in how you're going to be able to just spend more time in playing this game, then might as well just work on a couple of characters and just make the content easier for you, you know? So now let's go dive into the easier softballs. One of them is going to be the following. They're looking into implementing how you can go from your standard version to the ultimate and how you're going to be able to carry, let's just say, some type of progression system into it. So if you already spent some time into your standard character, how do you go about carrying that over to an ultimate? They're thinking about either doing some, maybe a small portion of it or some type of a portion. But here we go again into the big issue is, of course, they got to make some money. So they're going to be thinking about how do we balance this so they can make money and we can have a our player base enjoy the game content. So it's very hard, I bet, for developers to come up with decisions that may, you know what, it's not going to kill the game if you make a big change, and how do you keep it alive? So that's the main thing. Of course, with this type of game that it's a live service, you know, whenever they introduce brand new content, of course, the numbers are going to spike up and then they'll go down. So that is the type of game base that you're going to be seeing. Now, a few other questions that they went ahead and were asked were, you received feedback through reviews. How are you taking these critiques and what's your approach moving forward? So one of the issues was about farming. I mean, I don't think anyone should be complaining about farming. Just go and do different missions. The Asylum, I think it is. That's the easiest one. You can complete it on hard mode. Very easy to do, and you get a lot of gold. You get a lot of Kuiper. I mean, now they've optimized all the different sections, I believe, that you're able to go in there and just farm away, get enough gold, get enough Kuiper, and you are able to come out of here and then get some good amount of items that are going to help you. Now, let's move on to the last two of them. One of them is regarding to the matchmaking, the issue that, you know, a player just it's playing with you, and then let's just say it's two of you guys are going at it, and all of a sudden one of them leaves, and then you're still having that harder difficulty as a solo. So they're thinking about maybe making it into where it brings it down so the game recognizes that you're being a solo even if that person leaves you. And now the last one is about the trade feature. Are we going to be able to see a brand new trade feature coming? What they've gone ahead and said is, before we release, or we mentioned that we were preparing a trade system. However, right now we've prioritized stabilizing the service. So instead of implementing a trade economic system, we're going to be able to improve individual farming environments and offer a better way for players to spend excess resources. So there you go. That's pretty much everything you guys need to know about what happened in the Tokyo Game Show in regards to the First Descendants. I mean, we do have some issues that they have to see how they go about keeping players that like tough content versus players that don't like it too tough. And also in regards to the farming and how they go about from the progression system in regards to the standard to the ultimate descendants. That is probably something cool to see if they're able to implement that. Let me know, guys, if you have any other suggestions, or do you agree or not. Thank you for watching.